Manchester, New Hampshire is the third most unreached city in America. And we as Lighthouse Assemblies of God Church want to reach those in Manchester, New Hampshire. Many people think that New England area or the northern New England area is not ready for Jesus, or they're not receptive for the gospel. But we believe that the harvest is ripe, that every single person in Manchester is ready to hear the good news of the gospel. And we want to do that as a church. And not only reaching them, but teaching them the gospel, teaching them the word, discipling them, so that in the end, they may mobilize and do the same thing over and over again.
We only have 2 churches in New Hampshire, one in Hudson and the other is in Manchester, which is the one that we launched, Lighthouse Assembly of God Church. But our heart is to continue to move up north, to reach Vermont, to reach Maine, other cities in New Hampshire where there's Hispanic communities. Church planting is in the heart of God. In Genesis, God plants a garden, and then Jesus plants the church, and he teaches us to continue to do that. So church planting, we see it as it changes, or it turns the tide in the community where you plant the church. And that's what we see God doing in this time. He's lifting up church planters, calling them from different generations, whether it's the older generation and the younger generation. And those generations are coming together to be able to fulfill that call, to be able to plant the church, and to be able to plant it in communities which need the gospel, whether it's inner city or rural places, and to have a church where people can understand it in their own language. And that's why church planting is in our heart, because we're able to plant the church, reach the communities that need to hear the gospel in their own language. When you think about America and everything that is going on in the times that we're living in, it's one of the top 3 largest mission fields in the world. Missionaries are being sent to America. You just see it as the Lord is preparing us. You see it in Acts chapter 1 verse 8, where Jesus says, don't forget about Jerusalem. And that's what we see that God is doing in this generation. People that have gone before us and paved the way for church planting and reaching the United States. And that's where our heart is as missionary associates, as a church, as a recently new church plant, is to reach the nations, reach our city, reach Manchester, but to also reach America.
You know, we see in the Bible, God commanded us to go. And to go is not to go tomorrow or to go in 2 days or in 2 weeks, but the goal is do it now. And God has placed this in our heart, that in our all mundane things that we do in our lives, we should have the lost in our minds. We should have it already set when we wake up in the morning, already reaching Manchester, if we're driving around, if we're at work. So through the now, I think we're able to accomplish the Great Commission. And now that we have shared our hearts with you, we want you to partner with us. Join us in what God is doing here in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Join us to be able to see a missions movement in America and in the nations of the earth, and also specifically here in northern New England and New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. And we would ask you that you would join us in praying for Manchester, in praying for the refugees, in praying for the Hispanic community, in praying for our church, Lighthouse Assembly of God.
And another way you can support us and join us is to partner with us, become a supporter. And as missionaries, we need your help, because we believe that your giving impacts eternity.
God bless you.
God bless you.